Okay, welcome everyone to Table Reads on ScriptCamp. I am your host, Gray. Today, in case anyone doesn't know what we do here, we're going to read through a script and then give feedback. If you decide to participate in the form of reading a character or giving feedback, I will give you script coins. Script coins are a currency here on the server. You can use them to buy various merch, and if you have 100 of them, you can buy your very own full-length feature or pilot reading here at this event, as we are doing today. It's just one script today, a feature from Aliska. This is The Gods of Sutter Street, a horror comedy feature. Logline is when a skeptical ghost tour guide loses his business license due to a series of ritual killings. He discovers that a human sacrificing Aztec cult is responsible and must stop them from bringing about an era-ending earthquake. Looking for general feedback, content warning for violence and blood, and themes of cannibalism and sacrifice. Anything to add before we begin, Aliska?
Not really. Just there really is a building like this in San Francisco, which is where I got the inspiration for this. And I think that's all I want to say. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Aliska. And I'm going to cast parts now. If you'd like to voice that part, just speak up and I'll cast you. Again, we're not doing it by character today, we're just doing it by color. And so when you're given a color, you just read whatever is color-coded, what you're given. You don't have to worry about like what specific character. So yeah, we like to do that for longer scripts. So yeah, just go through sort of random, no really specific qualifier. I think yellow has the lead in it though. So would anyone like the yellow part?
Okay.
Thank you, Dan. Cyan. Anyone for cyan?
Sure.
Oh.
Hang on, how many people was that?
Me.
Okay. I'll give you cyan and Morgana. And for those of you who also said something, have green. Anyone like green?
Color.
Ooh, thanks, Stephen. Michael. And red.
I'll do
I'll take
red.
it.
Oh,
Okay, let's see. Heated,
I'll take it. Yeah.
I'll give you red, and TJ, I will give you peach. Peach.
So, how many groups of parts are there?
There are 7 parts.
Seven parts.
parts. But yeah, we just have orange and blue left. One for orange or blue?
I'll take blue.
Hey, Joel. And then orange. Anyone for the orange parts?
Is there maybe anyone who really wants to read parts who got a part? Speak up.
Read more?
Well,
You have a few already, right? that includes.
I only have one. I guess I have the lead though, so never mind.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
and I think they interact with people. We try and make sure that, those parts don't interact with other people. Otherwise, you'd end up talking to yourself.
yeah.
Last chance.
I can do
Speak
it.
up.
Orange?
If you want.
I could do it. So
Alright.
Morgana doesn't have multiple parts or multiple colors.
Multiple groups.
Yeah.
Line
You'd have to be a really talented voice actress.
You have like crazy range.
Yeah, the first character that I'm playing is Sacrificial Virgin, which is perfect for me.
Excellent. Well, yep, there's the castings. Just to remind anyone who can't look at the channel right now, Dan is yellow, Morgana, cyan, Evil Michael, green, Heated, red, TJ, peach, Paul, orange, and Joel, blue. Yeah. I'm doing all the non-color coded parts because I'm boring. But yes. Let's get started. Oh, wait. Whatever, whoever joins, just click on the stream. We are reading a feature. But yep. The Gods of Sutter Street, written by Carmen Perez Collins. Black. Jungle music. A thick red line shanks wildly, blurring. The red blur, thick, narrow, gyrating to sound. In tandem with the music, the line takes shape as we pull back into a series of filaments, plumes, ticking faster, blurring, gyrating faster. The song rises with a frenzied feather. The one feather becomes two, then three, then the full-on headdress of an Aztec warrior, 22, sweating, determined, resolute. As we continue to pull back, smash cut. Exterior Tenochtitlan, night. A row of headdresses and the sweating bodies of half-naked Aztec warrior men, 19 to 88, dancing ceremoniously to silence. The earth rumbles, chanting. Elaborate red feathers, the earth shakes. Pieces of rock fall from the top of a pyramid. The Aztec warriors come to a full stop. All eyes on the stairs of the pyramid leading up to a platform, where a wide-eyed sacrificial virgin, 19, lays on her back on the stone of sacrifice. A blade is lifted over her with two hands.
Wait!
The executioner, 22, gives her a signal. The sacrificial virgin gets up.
I have something to say first.
What do you want to say before we sacrifice you?
That I am not really satisfied with this outcome.
He looks directly into the camera.
That these men are committing an atrocity on this day, and that though I gave my life willingly, it shall be recorded in heaven as an egregious affront to the true God who is opposed to human sacrifice.
The executioner gives nods to the other Aztecs.
Shall we continue?
The virgin lays herself back down and consigns herself to a blade driven into her. Blood spatters on the chest of the executioner, whose face we cannot see, and a thick line of blood on the platform next to the sacrificial virgin, whose face turns toward the moon. The executioner lifts a pulsating heart toward the sparkling heavens, offering the bodily organ. Present day. Interior-exterior apartment, San Francisco, night. Cade Merrick, 21, strapped on a backpack. His phone rings, and he answers it.
Hey, Ma.
Cade, when are you coming home? Your father's so disappointed after finding that letter in the trash.
Ma, I told you, I love San Francisco. I never want to leave here. Let me try to make it here on my own.
You're just going to give up your dream of being an archaeologist? It's what you've always wanted.
It's what you and Dad always wanted. Ma, I want to experience something outside the realm of possibilities, and sitting behind a classroom desk doesn't really seem like it's going to take me there. I like what I'm doing now, and I just want you guys to be happy and know that you didn't fail me. I'm exercising my freedoms. You should be proud.
I just want my son to be the best that he can be. Is that so much to ask?
Ma, are you really crying? Okay, I gotta go. I love you. Have a nice day.
He hangs up, rolls his eyes, and tears a notice to pay or get the hell out off his door. He bolts downstairs, across the entrance to Chinatown, and jumps on a interior cable car continuous. He counts out exact change to the penny and drops it into the change catcher. Cade stands up for the ride, looking out the windows. His eyes are drawn across the aisle to a BT passenger 22, with extraordinarily big teeth. Cable car conductor 67 looks into the rearview mirror at Cade as the car comes to a full stop.
Already Sutter Street?
Cade stares back at him through the mirror.
This is where I stop, mister, and you know that already, don't you?
BT passenger man springs up from his seat. This is mine. His speech is a bit impaired due to the teeth. He goes to the door and waits for it to open. Got a dentist appointment.
Go to Union Square, mister, like I always do. Actually, I'm late for my tour again. It's not my fault.
Oh, dentist. Work on 9 to 6. Don't seem to me.
The conductor stares at Cade in the mirror.
You had to win again. Your side never hurt nobody. Besides, you can't bet the whole world to be of just on your account.
Cade rolls his eyes at him, looks down at his emerging belly showing a little over the top of his belt.
It's a mention. That's all.
I'll be walking next time.
Cade eyeballs him, runs into the door.
Can you open the door?
Conductor man pulls on a lever. Cade struggles to go through the door. Exterior Union Square, night. Cade semi-sprints across the square. He screeches to a halt and bends over, gasping at the corner. He looks around.
How's everybody?
He takes his phone out and points it from one corner of Union Square to the other.
Whack your mother. I'm on the wrong effing corner.
Cade breaks out into a sprint toward the next corner where tourists bustle. A group of about 10 people, ranging in age, stand around smoking and joking.
Welcome to Union Square in San Francisco. I hope your vacation is all that you hoped it would be, much more. I do apologize for my tardiness. Please be ready to present your tickets, which were delivered in your email.
The tourists present their tickets one by one and wait for the tour to begin.
We will make our way through Union Square into Knob and Russian Hill. I want to warn you in advance, these hills can get intense.
He looks at a lady with a walker, 89, with a patronizing superiority, full stop. It's Paul.
Don't you worry about me, Sonny.
The tourists laugh.
I'm sure you can handle it. Maybe even better than me.
He grabs his stomach and shakes it. The walker lady laughs.
I'd be fit by now.
Cade's point of view. A 22% grade street. Cade leads the group across the street. He turns around and addresses the group walking backwards.
It's important to follow the crosswalk signs as we proceed. Young children, stay with your parents. Now, what you're going to hear tonight might scare the hell out of you.
Cade looks right at a little girl tourist 6, who huddles into her protective dad 26.
Oh, that's my line. Or maybe not. Maybe you're made of steel. Maybe you're one of them.
The people in the group draw back.
That's scaring kids, do you?
Protective dad picks up the little girl tourist. She buries her head in his neck.
Kidding.
Cade rolls his eyes.
Moving on. If you look to my right, you'll see the most haunted building in San Francisco.
The tourists ooh and ah over the building.
The story is that a jilted woman who stayed with her husband here decided she wanted to end things. And when I say end, I'm not talking about marriage. Now, you look up.
Cade points to a balcony and waits for everyone to train their eyes on the balcony.
That jilted woman pushed her husband, Sir Francis Shawn. Yes, you guessed it, Shawn's Frozen Foods. You ever see those yellow vans running around and they drop food off your door? Well, Schwann's had his origins in the milk delivery business.
I remember that. What a swan has anything to do with it, I never understood.
Well, those who witnessed the event said that Sir Francis Schwann's arms flew back, therefore resembling a swan dive from the balcony.
Varied reactions from the crowd members. Nods, gasps, surprised looks, and a couple of muffled laughs.
Every other day, like clockwork, those glass bottles would come. The delivery lads were so handsome and clean.
Ma'am, would you like to take over the tour?
The people in the group appear to want to hear more from her. Hell, Cade glares at her.
Go on, son. Go on ahead, sonny boy. Don't mean to steal your thunder. Rain on your parade, step on your toes. Whatever it is they say these days.
Cade does a little bow.
Long story short, the scorned woman and her husband, whom she pushed over the edge of that same balcony that you're looking at right now, roam the hallways and the streets of Nob Hill to this day. Those responsible for the cleanup reported that the entire organs were missing from their bodies. Their hearts.
Gasps are heard from around the group. Cade leads them to the next point of interest.
Now this is said to be the most haunted site in all of San Francisco.
The smart-ass kid, 13-ish, looks at him skeptically.
That about the last building.
Just trying to do my job here, kid.
Do you really believe in all this baloney?
Cade shakes his head, then nods.
Yeah.
He winks at the kid.
If I didn't believe it, then I'd be telling lies for a living. Wouldn't I?
Cade leads the group to a very steep hill.
Ma'am, are you sure you can make it up that hill?
I can probably outrun you, Sonny.
The group laughs, but she takes off ahead of him.
And
The group watches on as she uses her walker to gain leverage. She makes it to the next block, turns around, and shakes her walker vengefully at Cade. The group claps and cheers for her. Exterior 450 Sutter Street, later. Cade walks in front of the building near the entrance.
everyone gather round.
Cade's point of view. The security guard, Val, 21, walks by. Her uniform looks plastered on, accentuating Latina curves. Cade watches her walk by and stutters over his presentation. A cynical tourist, 32, the father of the smart-ass kid, has a problem with Cade's prying eyes.
Trying to rip off her cold your eyes, are you?
Yeah, no, sir.
It could have fooled me.
Yeah, you could have fooled us.
Cade ignores them and waves at Val.
Well, ain't that sweet?
Val smiles and waves at Cade from her position under the hammered-out gold eaves of the building.
Lads in love.
The group gathers around.
You see that lovely young lady standing under the gold eaves? That's the massive Neo-Aztec-inspired Art Deco gargantuan of a building, brought here in chunks on a ship sailing over the clear blue ocean of the Atlantic in 1929.
Close-up shots of the hammered-out detailed depictions of Aztec gods. Cade's point of view. The big teeth. His eyebrows furrow and pulls a little on his shirt collar.
Built completely by...
This isn't scary at all.
It expected to be scared.
Looks like you's gonna have to step up your game, Sonny.
Cade's shoulders front forward. He shrieks and waves his hands like a boogeyman, startling the tourists. Walker Lady nearly jumps out of her skin. He falls, but Cade catches her just in time.
I'm sorry, Grandma.
He regains her composure.
Don't you call me Granny, Sonny.
She shakes her walker at him. Interior costume shop, day. Cade looks at the rows of horror masks.
How about that one?
The mermaid clerk, 19, dressed like a mermaid, swishes from side to side, taking many steps to get around. She pulls the Freddy mask off and hands it to Cade, who tries it on and looks in the mirror. He pulls it off.
That's not the right one.
He points to the OBL mask, Osama bin Laden. She struggles to climb the stairs to reach the mask and kneels on the top step. He pulls the mask off its stand and tosses it at Cade, hitting him in the face. He flails his arms against the mask.
Thanks a lot.
He pulls the mask over his face.
How about this one?
What's this for?
Ghost tour.
Perfect.
I'll take it.
Cade grabs a bag off the counter and walks out. Exterior, Union Square, night. Cade goes through the language and motions of the tour, like before, more or less. This time, though, he wears the OBL mask. A social justice man, 36, looks at Cade disapprovingly.
You know that's a wasted mask, right?
Yeah.
Do you mean Osama bin Laden?
Yeah.
How about calling people by before names, buddy?
He's dead.
I'm saying.
Cade closes out the tour at 450 Sutter Street without the benefit of the mask. He walks up to the saucy Val at her position under the awning.
Oh, try to terrify with mask.
Yeah?
Didn't work, did it?
I don't think so.
Want to know how to really scare Cholito?
No. Go away.
This building.
Val holds out her hand to signal the building the way Vanna White would.
Tell me more.
Me home?
Would be my pleasure.
That building is more than just a monument.
I'm all ears.
It's an idol.
What exactly does that mean?
A blood-curdling scream interrupts the convo. Val gasps. Cade sprints from Union Square to 450 Sutter. Val tails him. Blood spatter on a sidewalk. We follow a thick red line from the sidewalk to the inside lobby. Cade stops in the lobby. Val holds onto Cade's arm. The elevator doors open and close. Open and close. Open and Cade creeps toward the malfunctioning doors. Startled by his own reflection, dives. But then takes a closer look inside. Cade screams like a woman. He's in shock. Val covers her mouth with both hands, her eyes big and round, terrified. Close up on the cavity where the heart once was. Exterior 450 Sutter Street, moments later. Police lights flash. The gurney rolls a body out from under the gold facade of the building's entryway. Cade talks to the police with his arm around Val. He holds her very close. We have a rookie cop, 23, and a jaded cop, 56.
We were at Union Square when we heard the scream.
My shift was over at 10 p.m. I was telling Cade that.
Cade tugs on Val's arm.
You were telling Cade?
What exactly was you telling Cade?
It's just a rumor about the place.
Cade looks up the shaft of the towering edifice. A shadow falls over the building. He shakes it off.
You okay there?
I think I better walk Val home and get rest.
I told you that I know you find anything out. Anything at all.
Jaded cop follows them with his eyes as they make their way towards Union Square. Cade avoids his prying eyes, taking Val by the hand. Interior hallway, later. Cade walks Val to her door. Val goes to unlock her door and drops her key. Cade picks up her key and hands it to her.
Vito.
She opens the door just enough to squeeze through.
Actually, Lito.
She looks over his shoulder.
Never seen anything like this. Not even when I was living with the monks in Machu Picchu.
You lived on Machu Picchu?
Those monks really know how to get down.
What led you to Monk Village?
I just ran into it while I was out for a walk.
So they took you in?
Yeah.
I can dig it.
She looks into the crack of her door.
Conquering fear is not something they taught me, Chulito.
Are you okay with being alone?
She stares at him.
Okay, give me a chance to think of something.
Cade squints, drops his head to the side, taps his temple. Val smiles.
Good, stay here. Couch?
If that will make you feel better, then I will.
Just tonight. Initial shock, these things usually wears off after the first day or so.
Val opens the door and ushers Cade into the apartment where...
These things?
Interior apartment, same. An elaborate array of framed depictions of Aztec warriors performing sacrifices. Cade looks at each one, stopping on one where the female sacrifice wears an elaborate beaded animal hide skin. Val watches him. He snaps his head at Val.
What is all this?
I inherited this one from my abuela.
What's an abuela?
Grandma, silly.
Your family are Aztecs.
I was trying to explain that.
That your grandma is a homicidal maniac?
Don't get me wrong. Not into human sacrifices much.
I wasn't thinking that. Well, wait, what do you mean much?
I mean, I'm not. My abuela, though.
Your grandma sacrificed humans.
Mostly she would just break the necks of chickens with their bare hands and drain the blood. Watch them pull the hearts out of the people.
Val smiles. He has the face of an angel.
What? Do you know who did this, Val?
She shakes her head.
Yes. No. Don't know.
You either do or you don't, Val.
I really just want someone to stay with me tonight, will you?
She takes his hand and holds it on her cheek.
Please, Chulito, I'm so scared.
I said I would, didn't I?
Abe plops down on the couch.
What's that?
What?
Cade pulls out a 14-inch sickle from under the cushion and turns it in his hand, beholding the gleam of the steel.
Jesus.
Cade flinches.
I protect myself.
From Abuela?
Val lays on the couch, laying her head on his lap. She closes her eyes.
Kill me with that, please.
I won't.
He tucks her shiny strands of dark hair behind her ear. He sees how beautiful she is, lets his head fall back and closes his eyes. His head springs back up in an instant.
Ah!
Cade rubs the back of his head. He reaches back and pulls up a 20-inch hunting knife. He stares at it, beholding the gleam. He looks at the sleeping Val with terrified eyes. Interior 450 Sutter Street lobby. A big-toothed hag, 97, dances and lunges at Cade. Her face distorts, taking on random shapes.
Oh, my grandma, what big teeth you have!
Can't see. Cade wakes up gasping. Interior Val's apartment, moments later. Cade walks into the hallway. The shower is running. Cade goes into Val's bedroom. He looks off toward the sound the shower is coming from and goes into her closet. Inside, he finds an elaborate beaded animal hide costume.
What are you doing in my closet?
I'm sorry, Val, I'm going.
Val holds a towel around her body. She watches him leave the room. He looks at the closet and contemplates. Exterior Cade's apartment, later. Cade sits on a couch with his face buried in his hands. He drags himself to the kitchen and opens the fridge where a human heart sits on a plate marinating. His eyes go wide. He screams like a woman and slams the door shut. He shuts his eyes.
Not real, not real, not real.
He throws open the fridge door and looks inside again at the raw, bloody tri-tip.
Val?
He picks up his cell phone.
Join me for dinner.
Interior restaurant, day. Cade and Val sit in a fancy restaurant window dressed to the nines. Cade looks through a stack of credit cards in his wallet and looks at Val, who sits there smiling like an angel. He's distracted by someone outside.
No.
She holds the menu up to her face and ducks down. Cade looks back and forth from Val to the window where Antonio, 26, artist type with long hair pulled tight back.
What? Who's that?
Nobody at all.
Do you know that
Of course,
guy?
I don't know him.
Val.
Sure sounds to me like he knows you.
Antonio knocks on the window. Val.
Oh, home, Antonio.
Who the hell is this guy?
Val rolls her eyes. Antonio goes into the restaurant and escorts Val out.
I have to go. Sorry, Kate.
Be at work later.
Cade watches as Antonio puts Val into a vehicle. The license plate reads Aztec A22. Exterior Union Square, night. Cade leads a group of tourists not ranging in age. He goes through the motions we already know this song and dance. As they're standing in front of the front door of one of the buildings, a curious girl, 9, looks into the doors, cupping her hand on the door.
It's beautiful inside. Luxury everywhere.
Doesn't look luxurious to me. Looks terrible. There's stuff piled up everywhere.
Are you sure about that? Because last time I checked...
Cade looks in, cupping his hand on the darkened glass. It's like it's the luxurious place he says it is.
Look again.
The curious girl looks again.
Junk. Nothing but junk.
She crosses her little arms. Cade giggles. Curious girl's dad, 46, wants to verify. He too cups his hands to the darkened glass.
My daughter's right. It's all junk in there.
How can that be?
Cade looks again and sees the golden walls and chandeliers and the red velvety carpets and 1950s preserved furniture.
You feeling okay there?
I think I need to take a break.
Cade takes a brisk walk across Union Square. Exterior 450 Sutter Street, moments later. Cade looks for Val under the awning, but she's not there. Another narcoleptic guard, 58, has taken over.
You seen Val?
Who be Val?
That'll be the security guard who's usually here at this time.
Looks like you stuck with me.
Great.
You're the ghost tour guide?
That'd be me. What are you, the temp?
Just got hired on permanently.
Permanently.
Cade furrows his brow with the new guard.
You don't like it? Tough titty, said the kitty.
The car pulls up to the curb and the guard pays attention. The driver, 38, opens a door and a fancy exec woman, 45, emerges. She wears an animal hide over her shoulders and looks exactly like Val, except older.
Excuse me, ma'am.
She turns her shoulder to Cade and puts her nose in the air.
Is Val your daughter?
I don't have a daughter, excuse me.
She pushes past him and smiles at the chauffeur, releasing a beam of light from the surface of her unusually large teeth. Interior police station, later. Cade sits at a desk at the police precinct. Jaded cop sits across from him.
Roger here. I don't want to go chasing you down, partner.
Chasing me for what? Look, now there's something crazy going on 450 Southern Street.
Loading.
Val didn't show up for work. Last thing I was at her apartment, there was a picture of a woman wearing an animal hide, just like the one in the closet, and they were sacrificing animals. Then I saw the mom, whoever that was, her twin, except she was older and very rude, and I might add, and she too had an animal hide.
You were at the apartment?
Yes.
Now, you're saying you can't find her.
Did you hear anything I said? They have big teeth, they're dentists, and they eat people.
Alright, that's enough. I think you need a night or two in 3B.
What the hell is 3B?
Behavioral health, genius.
Jaded cop whistles and a whippersnapper psychotherapist, 26, comes to the desk.
Wait, I think Val's life is in danger.
That sounds a whole lot like a 70K partner.
Jaded cop signals to the psychotherapist.
They want Billy his ass.
I didn't do anything and I'm not crazy.
The psychotherapist looks at Cade with eyes of compassion.
It's going to be okay. Just stay calm.
I'm not a harm to myself or others, so you either arrest me or let me go.
Jaded cop holds up his hands as if to surrender. He's really enjoying this from the grin on his face.
I think I don't know the laws. I have a crazy sister.
Cade leaves the station and goes to exterior Val's apartment later. Cade crawls through the window of Val's room. Interior Val's apartment, moments later. Cade enters Val's closet. The beaded animal hide sacrifice dress is gone. Exterior costume shop day. Cade searches the racks and shelves for a new costume. He finds a leafy tree and tries it on in front of a floor-length mirror. Cade stares at himself in the mirror.
What about this one?
What's it for?
The mermaid clerk waddles over to Cade wearing a big hippopotamus suit. They both look into the mirror. A tree and a hippo stare back at us.
Going undercover.
You're gonna catch the killer?
Shh. Just trying to get into their building first.
What building?
450 Sutter Street.
My uncle works there.
What? He wouldn't happen to be a dentist, would he?
How'd you know?
Have you seen those people with the big teeth around?
Hippo stares at the tree. Interior, 450 Sutter Street stairwell, later. A line of high-end vehicles parked on the street. The narcoleptic guard, 67, sits in the little guard tower. He looks around a couple of times and yawns. His head falls forward. He startles awake, looks around and pretends to really be working, looking, guarding, that kind of thing. He places his hand on the hip grip of his firearm. He stands up and walks closer to the curb, where he could swear he sees a face in the tree across the street. But, it's really Cade in costume. Hippo ducks down and bolts across the street. He hides behind a car. The guard shakes off the idea he's imagining things and looks toward the line of fancy cars where Hippo pops up.
Hey, over here!
She performs a series of dances, tap dances, performs the running man, spins and pirouettes. Cade tiptoes to a light pole while the guard is entertained by dancing Hippo. Hippo dips down behind the car. Tree signals to Hippo and they make a run for it. Hippo and Tree barge into the stairwell through a back door entrance of the building. Interior stairwell continuous. Hippo slams into Cade. He stumbles into the stairway.
Watch out!
Can't see anything.
Cade's point of view. Hippo's mask has completely turned around on her head. He turns the mask to align the eye holes with hers.
Here you go.
Oh, I thought the grid had gone down. What are we doing?
Cade skips every other step up the stairwell. Hippo tries to keep up. Cade strips off the tree suit at the top of the stairs.
You can take off that crazy costume.
What if I see my uncle? I don't want him to know I'm sneaking around his building.
What floor does he work on?
I don't know.
I think it's the whole building. I remember the bus driver saying the whole building was full of dentists.
What's the problem with that? There's a lot of teeth in the world.
But these people have big teeth.
Like my uncle, he has implants put in when he didn't even have missing teeth.
Cade's eyes widen.
What?
Cade's expression turns dire. He opens the stairwell door.
I'm gonna find out what the hell is going on here if it's the last thing I do.
He trips over his Hippo's big feet and keeps on trucking down the hall. This is a man on a mission. Exterior street, moments later. The guard scratches his head, picks up his cell phone, and dials out.
Hey, Nikki.
Nikki, 28, a voice in the phone we will probably never actually meet. And that's Evil Michael.
Hey, what?
I saw a hippo dancing on the street.
Sure you're not imagining things again?
Nah, this one was way too real.
Maybe you fell asleep and were dreaming. Call for backup. I don't know.
I think I would have figured out if I was sleeping.
See your doctor, man. This is my area.
Nikki hangs up. The security guard stares at the phone and looks over at the line of cars. Interior hallway. Cade's point of view. A conference with executive types sitting around an oval table. A white-haired man, 63, stands at a whiteboard with a whiteboard marker in hand. Interior conference room, day. The white-haired man turns to the dry erase board, a series of jumbled-up numbers that don't seem to amount to much. He makes a series of hash marks haphazardly, pretending they mean something.
The calculations prove that the chosen sacrifice must spill her blood by midnight on the night in question.
He smiles, showcasing the big teeth, and puts down the dry erase marker.
Her blood, your daughter's blood,
He turns to Val's mom. She beams with pride.
will appease Manatawi and save the tribe and therefore all of mankind.
The man sitting next to Val's mom is Val's dad, 58. Places his hand over Val's mom's hand.
Not so fast. If we've always stopped the earthquake, then how do they know the severity of it? I don't buy any of this rigmarole, and you're not going anywhere near my door.
The tremors are set to begin before we even place her on the sacred stone of the slaughter.
So it is true. But how does that prove your theory?
One time will tell. Only time will tell.
Then why don't you offer up your daughters?
The execs around the table turn to look at him with faces set like concrete.
As far as we know, yours is the only known virgin, which we'll need to be verified before.
Verified? Have you people gone mad? I'm not agreeing to violate my daughter.
The white-haired man does a little humble bow, and everyone in the room claps, all except for Val's dad. There's something very wrong here. Interior hallway, day. Cade stands flush to the wall to avoid being seen. Hippo goes behind.
What the hell's going on in there?
That's my uncle.
Which one?
The one sitting down next to the lady.
Are you sure he's a dentist?
I would know if my uncle's a dentist.
Cade looks at her. It's a double take.
Will you please take off that ridiculous mask?
I will when my time comes. My uncle sees me, I'm toast. He's not exactly the nicest person.
Here they come. Hide.
The execs of the meeting get up to leave. Kate and the mermaid clerk hide in the broom closet, leaving the door slightly ajar to see what the dentists do. As they walk past, Val's mother and the father stop just short of the broom closet. I think that's heated. You were playing Val's mom.
We need to bring it to the roof on the day of the start of the celebration.
Val's mom will also be a fancy woman, so alert. Val's dad, 56, hangs his head down, but then looks at the fancy woman who is Val's mother square in the eyes.
How can this be so easy for you?
Oh no, cariño.
She runs a finger along his chin.
This is not easy for me. She's my daughter too.
There has to be another way. I'm not even sure if I believe all the stuff about appeasing the gods. What kind of god demands blood?
The only one we know, mi cariño. Now just think about what good we will do society.
We should just burn this place down.
Nonsense. You're just being emotional. Remember why she was born.
Not for this. Her blood will be on your hands.
Val's dad storms into the elevator. The fancy woman follows him in. As the doors close,
Manatawi will be most pleased.
smiles, exposing her big teeth and gleam. Val's dad stares at her with fear and sorrow-filled eyes. Interior broom closet, continuous. Point of view. Kate continues staring out of the crack of the door. He pushes the door open, and the hippo comes out.
What the hell was that about?
I don't know, but they sound insane, and I have to use the restroom.
Mermaid clerk dances around. He finds a bathroom near the hallway and enters it. Kate goes into the conference room where the dentists were. Interior bathroom, moments later. Mermaid clerk stands in front of the mirror and removes the hippo mask. Her hair sticks to her forehead, to the sides of her face. She fingers her hair back and stares at herself.
Stupid hippo.
She snaps her head towards movement off screen somewhere. Main camera point of view. A copper intaglio. How do you say that intaglio? Of a little Aztec god holding an axe and wearing a feather headdress. Possible movement from the image. She's not there. He moves in for a closer look at the image. Mermaid clerk lifts her head to the little god, feels the indentations of the metallic surface. She runs her fingers along the etched out feathers, the face, the big teeth, and the axe.
What is this?
She studies the entire copper scene of Aztec gods and daily life depictions, then breaks with her fascination and goes into a stall. He pulls the costume down and sits on the toilet. After several moments pass, no sounds of urination arrive.
On. Damn infection.
Metallic sounds distract her effort. She looks around for the source of the sound.
What the rigor mortis in hell?
Mermaid clerk point of view. A set of dirty feet wearing ankle adornments and sandals made of the simplest materials appear under the door facing her. Her eyes go big. Interior conference room, continuous. Cade snips around the conference room, looking at what was left on the table. Cade's point of view. Archaeology magazine. He flips through the magazine haphazardly and chucks it across the room. Interior bathroom moments later. Mermaid clerk is out of her mind with fear as she sits on the toilet seat praying in inaudible whispers. She opens her eyes and stays very still. Only her eyeballs move to sprint from side to side.
Hello?
Stands up, pulls the hippo suit straps over her shoulders, and looks in the toilet where the water is crystal clear. The hippo mask rolls under the stall floor. She stares at the mask, kicks it aside.
Who's out there?
She looks under the stall where an axe drops down next to the dirty feet. She gasps, drops to the floor, and slides her body from the current stall to the next. She looks to the side and no longer sees the dirty feet. She turns over and takes a deep breath.
Thank God.
She slides all the way out from the bathroom stall and gathers herself, chuckling to herself. She goes for the door.
Oh, the mask.
Mermaid clerk turns around to go back for the mask. He freezes over near the door and stares at the hippo mask laying on the floor several feet away. Mermaid clerk looks around and makes her move. She sprints for the mask, snatches it up, and runs back towards the door where the little Aztec god is waiting, blocking the door. She gasps and stares at the little man creature, which stands only about 3 feet tall and is clearly not human at all. It smiles, exposing the big teeth. Steam escapes from monster nostrils, and it grunts at her in an effort to communicate. Its eyebrows angle down sharply, its eyes disproportionately stretched out. It takes 2 very slow steps back away from the thing. Her chest rises higher with every breath she gasps for.
What are you?
The little man creature thinks it over, cocking his head and looking up to the right. He taps his chin. He's kind of cute in a terrifying way. It speaks the tribal language in an effort to answer her question and looks at her as if seeking approval.
Let me pass, whatever you are.
She looks at the door and takes a step toward it. The little man creature takes a quick step toward her. She gasps and steps back, holding her hands over her heart and jugular. She closes her eyes and takes heavy breaths.
It's God.
She opens her eyes. The little Aztec now only a few feet away from her. Her maid clerk's eyes pool with liquid. One tear flows down her cheek.
Won't tell anyone I saw you, I swear.
He cocks his head and thinks about it, like before, tapping the chin and contemplating.
You even real?
It takes another quick step toward her, like a little flash of light, and she gasps and jumps back. A trickle of liquid rolls down her leg, forming a small pool on the tile.
Please?
The shine of the axe's edge is magnified. She looks at the door, looks at the creature. Her body shakes, and she takes a chance, bolts to the door, pushing past the creature. She slips and lunges. Her hand lands on the door handle. Little Aztec grabs her at the ankle. Her hand loses its grip on the door handle. The little man creature drags her across the floor. Our point of view, outside the door of the bathroom, filtered screams. Interior conference room, same. Cade flips the documents on the conference room table. He pauses before he thinks he can hear Mermaid Clerk screaming. He opens the conference room door and calls out.
Hey!
He walks down the hallway whistling and comes to a stop in front of an office. He stands in the hallway looking into the office where, Cade's point of view, the animal hide dress for the sacrifice hangs from the hook on the wall. Interior office, day. Cade stands in the office in the midst of the dress and a red-feathered headdress. On the desk, a manila folder marks classified. Cade opens the folder to a stack of papers.
Association of Archaeology, Reconsidering Stress, and Study of Human Remains.
Cade flips from one article to the next.
Human sacrifice is necessary to be in one. Evidence suggests no, but these cultists are not having it and insist that virgin blood offered to Munatwai will stop the next era ending earthquake.
Cade looks terrified. Cade looks around, snatches up the file, and makes his way around the offices. He peers into the copy room.
Hippo!
He goes to an adjacent office and swings the door open.
Hippo!
He looks at the file and at the copper wall with the engravings, ancient Aztec life, and the little creature man and the teeth. He looks back at the file. He shudders and looks deep into those dark offices.
Who the hell are you?
He pops his head back to the right, lifts his chest, and pulls his shoulders back.
Hippo!
He walks a little way down the hall and comes face to face with the women's restroom. He stares at the door for a moment, then knocks on it twice.
A mermaid girl.
He knocks again, a series of light taps.
Oh?
He nudges the door open and peeks in. His eyes widen as he crosses the threshold into the bathroom where... Interior bathroom day. Oh, wait, go back up. Did I read that out? Okay, yeah. Interior bathroom day. Cade tiptoes into a bloodbath near the door. He is in disbelief as he makes his way deeper into the bathroom. He slips, throwing the file dramatically in the air, catches himself on the sink. The sink detaches from the wall and crashes to the floor along with his ass.
Son of the devil!
He gets up, but he slips again as he tries to gain leverage on the tile.
What the hell?
Blood stains his pant legs pants. He holds his hands up to his face and stares. The contents of the file soak in Laurie's blood. Cade holds his head in 2 hands.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!
Blood from his hands and arms cover his face and shirt. He walks deeper into the bathroom, tiptoeing along the wall into another intact sink where he turns the water handle and rinses blood off his arms. The blood circles around in the drain and goes down. He rinses off his face and uses a paper towel to dry it. He turns around and stares at the stalls and the destroyed surface of the wall where the copper is, as if something has broken off and detached from it. His own bloody tracks mark the tiles. There's another set of bloody tracks, which appear to be going out of the bathroom, small tracks appearing to belong to a child. Something else is here as well, a red feather. Cade picks up the red feather and examines it. He puts it in his pocket and kicks open the last stall. He gasps.
Damn it, mermaid, quit effing around, don't be embarrassed. My sister used to get really bad periods too.
Our point of view. There, sitting on the toilet, is Hippo, fully costumed, with its head cocked a bit to the side. It doesn't move. Bit.
Hippo?
Cade shudders. He takes a deep breath and steps into the bathroom stall. He lifts the hippo mask off his friend's torso. It screams and throws the mask into the air. He runs out of the bathroom, slipping in the blood again and the blood-soaked documents and the attached sink. We revisit the bathroom scene, going to each stall, one by one door open, door shut. And we fall on the last one where Hippo mask lays on the floor, and the feet of Hippo are stained with blood. We travel up the Hippo feet and legs to the torso and to the face, and now we see Hippo's face frozen in a static, terrified state, with little X across one eye and cheek. Exterior Union Square, day. Cade runs and screams his head off. This is all very normal, though, and none of the dozens of tourists and locals seem very concerned, except for the narcoleptic security guard who wakes up. The guard runs to the corner and comes to a sudden halt. Paul left. Knew it. God-forsaken delinquents. The security guard sits back down in his post and yawns. Interior police...
Sorry, I could read for Paul now.
Okay. Thanks, Jay. Interior police station moments later. Cade scurries to the little window counter where the cops who get in trouble work.
Hey, copper, I need you to...
A gangsta cop officer, 26, with chip on his shoulder, works the desk because he got in trouble and can't be trusted with more pressing matters. That's another story. He looks around like he's the Fonz.
Papa, I'm Officer Cartel. You will all dress me by my proper tire, Holmes.
He lifts his chest, makes a gang sign, and sizes up all the bloodstains on Cade.
Officer Cartel, send a fleet, and I mean a fleet of bluecoats over to the dental building.
What, homie?
Cade looks himself over. He goes from extremely anxious to suddenly completely relaxed.
This is paint, red paint. I'm a painter. I paint for a living.
The officer sniffs into the air several times.
And why do you smell like blood, homie?
This is scratch and sniff paint for the morbid among us. We paint it, you sniff it.
Officer Blank walks through the door. Cade approaches him, back to the high anxiety state.
Something's happened at 45 something terrible, 450 something terrible.
Whoa, Punatu. I'm just fixing to start my shift.
We gotta go over there. Get your guns, let's go.
It can't be more terrible than my 12-hour shift starting, could it now?
He looks off at the cop behind the window who uses Windex to clean the plexiglass.
That guy's in trouble. Companion mine, transnational stuff? Probably doing prison time. Yep. Now, why don't you just step into my office, Carl, what's your name again?
Cade Merrick, and I'm 22 years old. I work at Union Square as a ghost tour guide, and I have witnessed a woman dead inside the building.
Huh. Okay, we have an active investigation going on right now. Now, if there's something you need, you need to come clean right now because you're looking to do life in prison.
Life in prison? For what? I'm not even a suspect.
Tell you what now, if that's blood all over you, and you say you got a body over at 450, you just made yourself a suspect.
Kel drops his head into his hands. Interior 450 Sutter Street, later. Police technicians collect evidence behind the police tape. DEA and FBI agents huddled together, arguing about jurisdiction.
This is a dental building, big pharma. This is our case.
Table Michael. In your dreams.
How much you want to bet?
The two field agents engage in a shoving match as an evidence technician number 1, 28, holds open a clear bag, and evidence technician number 2, 36, places the mask inside. I'm getting an echo from your end, Evil Michael. The evidence bag. The narcoleptic guard stands near the door talking to Detective Blank. Mermaid Clerk's body is rolled out of the building on a gurney wrapped in a white sheet. The axe is placed into an evidence bag and vacuum sealed. Interior police station later. Cade and Detective Blank sit at the desk at the precinct. Detective Blank reads a copy of Psychology Today.
If you had to guess at your own psychological condition, what do you think it would be?
He uses his fingers to enumerate conditions.
Okay, so there's manic depressive, bipolar, schizo, dissociative,
What are you talking about?
run-of-the-mill psycho? All right, then.
He slams down the magazine.
Now, you were the only one with her, Cade. You're the one with blood all over her blood.
I could prove to you that I'm not responsible for this. Or Val's disappearing.
And how do you intend to do that?
Upstairs, in the blood, I found these documents. They talk about blood sacrifices and some earthquake that's supposed to happen. I think they need the heart to sacrifice. Final sacrifice must be a pure virgin.
Well, you're in luck, cause there ain't no virgins around here. I guess my job is done. That's what you wished, didn't you?
What?
Turn around, kid.
Detective turns him around and cuffs him.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you in the court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, we will provide you one.
Don't I get a phone call?
We don't do phone calls no more.
Cade looks at him crazy because he knows it's not true. Interior jail later. Cade sits in the holding tank with his head buried in his hands. He gets up, looks through the window, and bangs on the door. A detaining officer, 65, grudgingly goes to the door and yells through it.
What do you want?
I need my phone so I can make a call.
You see that phone on the wall?
The one with no receiver? With the wires hanging out?
Yeah, dog. Morse coded it. Morse coded.
He walks off. Cade attempts Morse code using the wires. Then he realizes.
This is my first time in jail. I don't know Morse code.
He leans his head on the wall.
Please, didn't get my first phone call yet because they took my phone.
Well, since you're being real humble about it.
The officer goes away. Moments later, he returns with a piece of paper. He opens the door and slides it into him, along with a golf pencil which rolls under the bench.
See that bird out there? Write your message and place it right in between its beak. I'm sure your message will get across.
He walks away chuckling to himself. Cade looks out at the window at the bird. We hold on the bird, who turns its head around and directly into Cade's eyes. Cade stares back at it. Exterior, 450 Sutter Street, night. Copper intaglio Aztec god. A blood-curdling scream. Police lights roll into the vicinity. A body wheels out of the building. Interior jail, later. Val walks into the front doors of the jail. He approaches the desk and speaks to the gangster cop who takes her to a desk where Detective Blank sits. Detective Blank invites her to have a seat at his desk. He sits down across from her. Her hair is disheveled and she appears far from kept-up appearance.
So what you're saying is that Cade couldn't possibly have committed this crime. ¿Por qué?
Evil Michael. My family is from Nicaragua, the original birthplace of Manitawi. He has the power to take on forms through metals.
Forms? What kind of forms? What do you mean by metals?
Look, it's very difficult to explain, but I can vouch for Cade. No, he did not do this. I'm willing to bail him out.
You better be right, Mamacita.
I need his help, Officer Blank.
He showed up here with blood all over his clothes.
Detective Blank's phone rings. He picks it up and we hear only one side of the conversation.
What'd you say? 450 Sutter Street. Wait, when did this happen? A few minutes ago?
Officer Blank looks at Val.
I'll be down there.
He hangs up the phone.
Something very strange is going on around here.
You have to stop them.
Who?
I hate to say, it's my mother.
What about her?
Detective Blink clicks his pen. Val sighs and drops her head to one side. Interior jail, moments later. Cade and Val hug. Cade turns to the counter where his belongings have been laid out by the gangsta cop. That's...
Oh, that makes sorry. Okay. You got lucky, homie. Sign here.
Cade signs his name, takes his phone, keys, and wallet. He looks inside his wallet and looks at gangsta cop.
All my money better be there.
Gangsta cop holds out his hands to prove he has nothing. Exterior jail, moments later. Cade and Val bust a mission as they pick up their pace through the streets.
Where have you been?
I need some downtime.
Downtime? I thought you were dead!
Where are you going?
To figure out who's killing those people.
They said you showed up covered in blood.
Whatever is doing this is some kind of very evil thing from the depths of hell.
Almost. I mean, it goes back to the same thing.
What are you talking about?
They need a virgin.
Cade stares at Val. She looks deep into his eyes. He does a double take. Interior Cade's apartment, later. Cade and Val sit on the couch. Val unzips Cade's pants and takes off her shirt. He feels up on her, but then...
What are we doing?
We need to do this.
I need to want things to be special or something. I never did take you for a loose woman. What am I saying? Something is killing people out there. I can't just be in here indulging myself while people die.
I don't know what's going on.
Cade lets his head fall back.
Posting?
They want my.
Why you?
I'm the only virgin left in my bloodline. Same bloodline as the Aztec god of metals, Anatawi.
Cade sighs.
I like that you have this really crazy imagination. I mean, it makes things fun and interesting, but I need to be in reality right now.
This is reality. They're after me. In fact, I'm still a virgin of some, it's sort of the coincidence. Nobody knew the date of the required sacrifice would coincide with me still being a virgin at the age of 22. Believe me. Once we can eliminate me as a proper sacrifice, it all goes away since they specifically need the blood of the Manatawi ancestral line.
And that would be you.
And only.
Cade sits up, deep into her brown eyes.
Are you really a virgin?
Val nods, he smiles. Interior liquor store, later. Bottles of booze tremble on the shelf. The liquor store clerk, 26, holds the counter and ducks down. Peeks out over the counter at Cade, who stands in the booze aisle.
Duck down, man. They crazy shiny boots all over.
Cade gets down on the floor and crawls over to the wall of cereals and other dry goods. He takes a bottle of wine off the aisle counter. He grabs a packaged corkscrew and a single rose. He peruses the packaged condoms, leather, raw, sensitive, lambskin. He settles on the lambskin and goes to the counter where he places all the items. The clerk comes up to a standing position.
Aye, huh? I can dig it, man.
Cade stares at him.
Did you say dig?
Yeah, like, dig it. Like, luminary. Like, sick.
Cade furrows his eyebrows and stares at the wine's label. A field leading up to a farmhouse and the words Chateau Grand Villa. Interior Cade's apartment, later. The shower is running and the door of the bathroom has been left ajar. He peeks in to behold the traffic-stopping curves of a Latinx virgin body through the transparent shower doors. Cade slaps himself in the face and turns away. He makes a call.
Ma, this is important. I need Professor Diggs' phone number. It was on that letter of recommendation he gave me.
Where is it? What's going on?
I don't have time to explain right now.
Well, hold on. Do you want to talk to your dad? He's right here. I'm sure he'd like to talk to you.
Well, I don't really have. Okay, put them on.
Kate's point of view. Val's come hither body making its way down the hall.
Dad? How's it going? Sorry I've been so busy. I have this new business and trying to make it work.
Kate, I cannot believe you just wrote an acceptance letter to Cornell. Are you out of your mind? Your sister's certifiable and will never do something like that.
Dad, you know I have dyslexia, and that reading I would have to do.
That's heated.
Give me the phone.
Alright, son, here's your mother. We still love you.
I found the letter, still in your wastebasket along with all the letters from Cornell. How could you do this to us?
Kate's mom sobs. Kate rolls his eyes, walks to the door of the bedroom. Val's in there waiting for him on the bed.
Ma, please. I don't have time.
Kate goes to the junk drawer of the kitchen, takes out a pen and a piece of paper.
The number is 916-743-5000.
Okay, thanks. I have to go. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Kate uses a refrigerator magnet to hold the note on the fridge. He unwraps the corkscrew, picks up the bottle and the box of condoms. He walks back through the hallway to the bedroom. A bit more, where he places the items on the nightstand, takes off his shirt, and stands there with the corkscrew in hand.
Poking corkscrew in someone's eye if they try to mess with you.
He slams the door shut with his foot. Interior bedroom, later. Kate and Val lay on the bed wrapped in sheets. The rose is in a thin glass vase next to one condom wrapper. Kate rolls over and sits up on the edge of the bed. His torso is bloodied. He sits on the edge of the bed, hanging his head down.
I hope it was good for you. First time and all.
Val wraps her arms around his chest from behind.
Hope this works.
I need to call someone.
It's over.
Why do I not believe that?
Kate touches her endearing face. Interior Archaeology Museum, later. A typical museum filled with artifacts. We visit the artifacts. A bust of Pharaoh, pottery pieces of varying sizes and conditions, weapons of war, such as a little axe identical to the little Aztec buried in Mermaid's head. Professor Dig 57, an academic and theoretician, peruses an issue of Elementus Magazine International. He's really into whatever it is he's reading. He bites into an apple, and a worm with a tuft of hair growing out of one of its ends crawls out. The worm falls onto the desk and squirms around. This is truly a hideous creature. The scientist retrieves a magnifying glass from a vase of pens, looks at the worm through the lens. The creature looks up at him and stays still.
Where in the name of science did you get that out?
He scoops the creature into a small vial and places it with a grouping of other specimens on a windowsill. Dr. Dick's point of view. The worm rides in the vial and looks through what appears to like the two little eyes under the tuft of hair staring out at him.
How's your boyfriend? There ain't nothing but that for you out here in the wild.
He's startled by a knock on the door. Exterior parking lot continuous. A sign, Museum of Classical Archaeology. Breeze blows the last of the students cross the lawn to get to their vehicles. Interior hallway, day. Kate and Val move quickly. Kate opens doors, looks into the rooms, and closes them.
What are we looking for?
A professor I know.
Didn't know you were a college guy.
Well, I got close. I got accepted, but
What happened?
dyslexia.
How'd you get through high school?
I had a lot of help.
School.
Cornell?
You crazy? You turned down an acceptance to Cornell?
Kate comes to a stop.
I fell in love with San Francisco.
He stares at Val, deep into her brown eyes.
And now I have so much more to live for.
Val deepens her eye contact and smiles. Interior classroom, moments later. The worm with the tuft of hair wiggles around. Knock on the door. Professor Diggs opens the door to Cade and Val. Diggs and Cade laugh and clasp hands like old buddies. Interior classroom, moments later. Cade, Val, and the professor sit at the work table staring at the worm with visible disgust on their faces.
And I heard that you want me psycho now. I have to admit it. I was disappointed. What are you up to these days?
A little of this, a little of that.
Val contorts her face at the worm.
One like this. I never seen one like this.
It does look pretty disgusting.
Once in a while, when we come across things we never seen that we can't find in the history books or on the internet.
Cade scoffs.
Tell me about it.
What did they say? If you can't find on the internet, then maybe it don't exist.
It's evil Michael.
The ugliest thing ever.
Can it be any worse than a human sacrificing asset come to life from an intaglio? Yes.
What would generate that power that would animate that sort of thing?
You tell me, Professor. That's why I came here.
Lucky he's not in jail.
No, for what?
Murder of those two people. Told him that I know it wasn't him. It was the copper Aztec god, and I mean, thank God Cade understands it, because it would be so upset right now if he thought I was just crazy. Imagine all. It's my family would carry the bloodline, and I haven't told everything about it. But you said you did give me when we had sex, so everything should be okay. But you're saying no.
Val turns to look at the professor and points a finger toward Cade.
Hey, no.
He drops her arm to the side in frustration.
Maybe we should take out this over a drink or two. Nothing fancy.
Cade and Val nod. Exterior Jaguar later. Orange autumn leaves blow harder now than before, like an out-of-control fire tossing flames out. The car tosses them around as it passes over a street covered with them. Interior bar later. 3 drinks and a small round table. One has an umbrella, one has a mini totem pole, and the other has a lime wedged onto the edge with a cherry sticking into it. Cade leans into the professor to be heard over the music.
Coming off?
I think you cut out there.
Oh, sorry. Okay, for you.
Never took you for a drinker.
Do you think any yes to me?
Nah.
Cade picks up his drink and stares at it, the one with the totem pole garnishment. He slips a little and contorts his face at the garnishment.
Strong.
This my friend, if I come here.
He swishes his drink around gleefully and takes a drink.
Now, before I interrupt your little dilemma with the problem drink, you were saying
About the killer. In effect, he's a sort of shapeshifter of the world of metals, copper, steel, aluminum, titanium, chromium, iron, and the list goes on. He cannot do it unless someone with authority has given him permission. Someone from the bloodline. In this case, that's my mother. They believe that an era-ending earthquake is set to occur, but my father insists that they have dates wrong.
People walking by can hear everything Val is saying. They look at her like she's crazy.
that when the earthquakes. What religion is this?
Sure falls into the category of religion.
A tradition, practice, a sorcery of some kind?
I found some documents. They were destroyed in the spilled blood of a costume shop owner.
What? Costume shop? Have you gone to the police?
Of course. But the only thing they know now is that I'm not behind the killings.
Problem is?
We have to stop it. I suspect they're going to continue killing, though Val doesn't think so.
Evil Michael.
Because the possibility for the virgin sacrifice has been removed.
Cade and Val stare at each other with lust-filled eyes. The professor looks back and forth at them. This is love.
So, in that case, then, it seems the possibility of earthquake is still happening could be reality.
I'll see what I can do. After we'll get into the research. What was the bully again?
Cade stares at the professor and goes into deep thought. Exterior Cade's apartment, day. Cade stands in front of the post office boxes and shuffles through pieces of mail. He stops on one. City and County of San Francisco Permit Center. He tears the letter open. The City of San Francisco has canceled your business license for San Francisco Ghost Tours, effective immediately until further notice. He crumples the notice. Interior City Building Day. Cade stands in the window holding the crumbled letter, talking into a happy clerk 36. While Cade appears clearly upset, he maintains a veneer of calm and professionalism, smiling from ear to ear. Cade shakes the letter around.
I'm sorry to have my business license reinstated.
Wonderful, Mr. Maverick. I will be more than happy to help you today.
He holds his hand out through the little window.
May I see your letter, please?
Cade hands him the letter, which he smooths out on the counter.
Excuse me for just one moment.
The clerk turns to a steaming machine and holds the nozzle to the letter. He looks at Cade with a big smile.
It'll be just one moment while I make the letter legible.
Cade looks to the next window where a lady, 26, wearing glasses, argues with a rude clerk, 26, who hands her a bill.
For the city, $1,246.
What for?
Is there a problem with your glasses?
The lady takes her glasses off, looks at the lenses, and puts them back on.
No, there's nothing wrong with my glasses. Let me speak to a manager.
He crumbles the notice. The happy clerk holds Cade's letter up.
Much better.
The letter has been steamed out and is completely free from wrinkles. He reads the letter and it crumbles little by little.
Oops.
The happy clerk's smile turns to a frown. Interior Cade's apartment, night. Cade and Val cuddle on the bed.
I'm sorry they shut you down. You think the professor can help you?
I'm pretty sure. Really smart guy.
Anthropologist. Right.
Right.
Val's eyes close.
You'd like me if I was really a wolf?
You mean you're not?
Val giggles. Moments later, she snores. Cade slowly removes his hand from around her waist. He pulls his hand back. A few seconds pass. He moves his hand away again, and Val snores louder. He looks at her to make sure she's asleep. Interior, 450 Sutter Street lobby, night. Cade stares into the elevator. Flashback. The body with the heart missing from the cavity. Interior stairwell, moments later. Cade runs up the stairs. He stops every once in a while to take deep breaths. He takes one or two more sets of stairs and grabs his chest. By the time he gets there, he's practically having a heart attack trying to breathe. He gasps and takes deep breaths through his nose. He holds onto the stairwell railing. Interior Museum, day. Professor Diggs receives a call while he searches the internet for Aztec ruins. Below these words, pictures of the little copper Aztec gods perform electric.
Bonnie, stretchy hand from you, old friend.
You can call me doctor now.
Well, I knew you'd make it.
Appreciate your help. You still there at the museum?
The place is going on me.
He looks into the eyes of a beaver face artifact. He breaks from the stare.
Oh, me on it? Here, wait. What can I do for you?
Maybe a little prayer or a magical ritual. I just got out the hospital.
Imagine taking the path or condition onto the neighbors you walk by, so I don't recommend it. What happened?
Just.
The professor picks up an apple and turns it around in his hand, examining the skin.
Internal bleeding.
What the hell for?
Too much hot sauce, not enough water, I guess. My theory, because they didn't give me a reason.
God forbid they should take away your hot sauce. I always knew that would do you in. Remember I said that?
No, I don't remember you saying that.
Don't remember I said? Oh God, I'm acting. No, never. That your hot sauce addiction was going to put you in the hospital. My sack was.
Oh, man.
What are you calling for anyways?
Well, I'm on the dig in a remote part of Nicaragua, and I found something I think only you would know about.
Some silence passes.
Well, spit it out.
Pieces of chewed up apple fall out of his mouth.
Well, the Aztecs were a ritualistic type, always killing their own.
Are you saying this is true about the volcano and the earthquake?
We found the ancient writings.
And anything be done to stop it?
It's cold. I have it right here. Must be placed as high as possible on top of the structure where the curse was manifested.
The building. I was just looking at some acid stuff. A bunch of my believe the killings going on over here something to do with an acid curse some kind.
Yes. Interestingly, we followed the bloodline of just one family, and they seem to have relocated.
Forget San Francisco?
How did you know?
The killings. My born student girlfriend and family bloodline.
You must warn her. In fact, there's a good chance that at midnight tonight there will be an earthquake so severe it will kill millions.
Point of view, Professor Diggs. The seeds inside the apple core. Exterior, Cade's apartment, later. A key enters a lock. Pulling back, we can see that it's Cade. He pushes on the door and jiggles the doorknob. Val stands behind him, looking over his shoulder.
Flippin' door.
You sure that's the right door?
Cade turns around and looks at Val in disbelief. He scratches his head.
You're right, Val. You just forgot where I live.
Really?
Yeah.
Cade nods his head really fast.
No, not really, Val!
Val flinches. Cade kicks the door.
Calm down, Cade. I'm sure there's an explanation for it.
He kicks the door again, bangs on it, then composes himself.
What kind of joke is that?
Cade looks at Val freakishly.
You serious?
Val shrugs. Exterior, Union Square, later. Cade and Val sit on a bench, appearing somber.
I wonder how far they've come in this case.
I just want to forget about it.
Cade looks at Val with a death stare.
I can't just walk away from this. I work too much. At the same time, I don't know what to do.
These people, my family. Never thought I'd hear myself say that.
I'm sorry this is happening to you. Us.
What do we do now?
We can stay here, but it might get cold.
He puts an arm around Val.
Go to my place. My family might come looking for me.
Cade reaches for his wallet and emerges with a credit card. Interior hotel room, night. Val wakes up. She goes from room to room.
Cade.
She checks her phone, scrolls to Cade's name, and dials his number. Phone goes directly to voicemail.
Where are you?
Exterior Union Square, night. Val runs across the lawn. Interior stairwell, later. Val steps into the stairwell and lets the door shut behind her. He stops just short of the first step. He looks up and hesitates. He takes shallow, quick breaths. He sprints up the stairs. Interior stairwell, continuous. Cade's point of view. A sign. Roof access. Cade pushes the door open. Exterior roof. Night. Scroll down a little. Cade's point of view. A helipad. Cade walks across a series of lines and squares. Rolling back from the roof, we see that a giant calendar has been drawn out on the roof. Cade stands inside of a square on the calendar. He walks from one square up to the next until he lands on a 24. Interior stairwell, continuous. Val gasps for air at the landing. She plops down, takes her cell out of her back pocket, and dials Cade. The phone rings several times before cell service is lost.
Service?
She stares at the door labeled 8th floor. She stands up, slips her phone back into her back pocket, and opens the door. Interior 8th floor, continuous. A mirror near the elevators reflects Val walking into the elevator lobby. The wall behind this mirror is made up of copper sheath, the indentations of Aztec life and the little Aztec creature. She walks through the mirror, examines herself. She tussles her hair and fixes it to the top of her head. Her reflection turns gradually from her very own to that of someone different, someone with war paint under the eyes, headdress. Her eyes harden before her. She screams and snaps her head away from the mirror. Bell rings. Answers it.
Where are you?
I'm on the roof.
What are you doing up there?
There's some kind of calendar.
Calendar?
Do you know anything about this?
Oh!
There's a stone.
Stone sacrifice.
Behind Val, the copper sheath moves and transforms itself, detaching from the wall. Copper comes to life behind her. It's the little Aztec man creature with a new weapon of choice, a spiked club. Val looks to the side. She senses something.
Where are you?
A hotel.
I'm so close.
Val turns, coming face to face with the creature. She jumps back and screams, dropping the phone. The creature takes a quick step toward her. Exterior roof, continuous. Cade pulls the phone away from his ear and pulls it back in.
Val, what's going on?
Cade runs to the stairwell door and opens it. Interior 8th floor, continuous. Val backs away from the creature toward the door, to the emergency stairs she had come from. Slow, then fast. She turns the door and lets it shut behind her. She pulls the handle. A bang to the door startles her back away from the door. She slips on the step, twisting her ankle. Interior 8th floor, continuous. The cell phone on the floor.
Val?
Interior stairwell, continuous. Cade holds his phone to his ear. On the wall behind him, a little plaque, 26th floor. He takes big steps down the stairs, skipping every two. Val, terrified. The club makes contact again with the door. He jumps back. The spikes of the club pierce clean through the door. Another blow unhinges the door. Valeria screams. Cade picks up his pace in the stairwell upon hearing Val's screams echoing through the stairwell.
Oh, tell my ass!
Val runs for her life down the stairs, the copper creature in hot pursuit. The creature swings the spike club at her head, coming within centimeters of making contact. Val dips down. The creature hits the wall in front of her and falls to the landing. She runs up the way she came. She's now going up the stairs, hobbling along. The creature pursues and clambers back up behind her. Val falls face down. She can no longer outrun this thing. She turns over on her back to face it, determined to see her own demise approaching. The creature crawls over the top of her, making eye contact. She looks into its metallic eyes. A tear falls from the corner of her eye. The club is raised up and comes down on her face. The spikes pierce through her skin. Her face is crushed into facing the wall. Her chest rises and falls once more, and stops. It's lights out for Val. The creature lets out a series of celebratory grunts, but we can no longer see it. We stay on Val's face, a bloody pulp. Interior 9th floor, continuous. Cade makes his way down the stairs.
Where the hell are you?
Cade continues down the stairs, stops to breathe, taking in several breaths. He gathers up his strength again, bending over for air. He spots a dot of blood, then another. He follows the blood splatter. With each new dot, several more appear, until Cade's point of view, the bloodied face of his beloved Val.
No!
He falls to the stairs and embraces her mangled face, pulling her into his chest.
Come here, why?
Cade sobs with his whole body. Exterior 450 Sutter Street later. The lights of first responders. Cade and Professor Diggs stand out in the street while emergency personnel have swarmed the area, cordoning off the scene of the crime with police line do not cross yellow tape. Professor Diggs has his hand on Cade's shoulder. He cheated.
I'm sorry for your loss, my friend.
Cade's eyes are bloodshot. He's in a very bad way.
Coming.
Professor Diggs
is it? Continue. So, this is the way where the towers come to life.
What she said.
Did you ever witness it?
No, but I saw her face.
Cade looks off and over at Detective Blank, who stands afar off staring at him. Interior police station later. A bobblehead police figurine gyrates on a desk. Cade and Professor Diggs sit across from Detective Blank.
My wife got me that. Says it looks just like me.
He sighs and shuffles papers. Cade looks off to the side. Every once in a while, he sniffles.
You're lucky that you were in jail during the last killing.
You call this lucky? Valeria is dead.
Detective Blank puts his hands up as if to surrender.
All right. Let's just stay calm. I realize this is a horrible time for you.
I left her at the hotel sleeping. She shouldn't have been there.
Can you remember any details? Did you see anything? What could have caused the holes in the 8th floor door?
I know nothing. There's a calendar on the roof.
A calendar.
Like a human-sized one.
The detective looks back and forth between Cade and the professor. It's TJ.
Sorry, my mom was talking. If I make it my 2 cents, detective.
Detective Blank sits back in the chair and sighs.
All right, Professor. Give us your 2 cents then. You didn't do all that studying for nothing. I respect higher education. That's the problem with society today. Everyone's an expert in every matter and they refuse to listen. It's a little something called confirmation bias. Have you ever heard of confirmation bias?
It has something to do with the tendency to reject new information that does not fit with one already thinks he knows.
Cade sits up.
What about the calendar?
Detective Blank stares down at his desk calendar.
Looks like a new moon is coming.
Cade looks at his watch.
Tomorrow.
Interior morgue, day. Stainless steel human-sized drawers. A hand pulls the handle of one, revealing Val's sheet-wrapped body. Val's mother stares into Val's pulpous face. He appears to be frowning. Then, we can barely make out a little smile break out.
Can you identify this person?
She pulls the animal hide tightly around her shoulders.
My daughter.
She wipes away a non-existent tear. Exterior morgue, day. Val's mother walks out the doors of the morgue with her nose stuck up in the air. She looks around suspiciously and gets into a interior Cadillac continuous. Val's dad sits inside, drinking from a flask. Cade sits in a vehicle outside. He sees Val's mom and ducks down into the seat. He can barely make out the whites of his eyes peering out over the door frame. The Cadillac pulls away. Cade follows, sitting low in the seat. Interior Cadillac continuous. Val's dad grieves as he sips from the flask.
Well, was it her?
Val's mom stares out of the window.
Answer me.
Val's mom continues to stare out of the window.
Yes, it was her.
I knew it.
He sighs.
She's at peace. I'm sure of it.
It is your fault.
My fault?
Yes, you are full of witchcraft.
You're thinking with a flask.
This flask has kept me sane.
Val's mom stops. Val's dad addresses the driver, 48, through the reflection in the rearview mirror.
Pull over.
The driver slows down and pulls off to the side.
Do not pull over.
The driver drives back into the stream of traffic.
I said pull over.
If you pull over, Jeffrey, you're fired.
Fine then.
Val's dad opens the door and bails out of the vehicle. He gets clipped by an oncoming vehicle. Cade's point of view. Oh wait, getting feedback from your end, Evil Michael. Gets clipped by an oncoming vehicle. Cade's point of view. Val's dad tumbles on the road. He lays there in the middle of the road. Val's mom shrieks. Cade pulls over, exits the car, and runs towards Val's dad. Cadillac.
Pull over, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey pulls over, and Val's mom jumps out of the car. Honks and yells are heard as she weaves in and out of traffic, dropping her animal hide shawl on the street. Tires run over animal hide, destroying it. Val's mom falls to the side of Val's dad.
Karina.
His head falls to the side, and Val's mom is left there sobbing uncontrollably.
Oh, my life.
He holds his head into her. Cade stares at the scene unfolding. Val's mom looks up into the sky.
I'm so sorry.
She calms herself down and gathers up emotional strength. She places her hands on him ritualistically.
When I saw thee polluted in thine own blood, I said, stop the blood, stop.
Immediately, the blood dries up around Val's dad's head, and he awakens. He holds his head and looks into Val's mom's eyes.
You're back.
I'm back.
Cade looks on in awe of what's unfolding. An ambulance appears and takes Val's mom and dad away. Interior Cadillac, continuous. Cade gets into the Cadillac. The driver looks at him through the rear-view mirror.
Can I help you?
Yes, I believe you can.
I don't know anything.
The driver holds up both hands as if he's being robbed.
I think you do.
I'm sworn to secrecy.
Cade looks at his watch.
24 hours, new moon, 13 hours and counting.
Do you need a mental health facility?
Stop playing games.
I'm calling the police.
You're messing with a very dangerous person.
You don't look all that dangerous to me.
He picks up the cell again and dials the phone. Cade jumps out of the Cadillac and runs to his rental car. Interior Museum, later. Cade and Professor Diggs sit among the artifacts at the workbench. Cade mopes. He stares into a jar where the worm is. Its hair and body have lengthened over the past 2 days.
I'm afraid sorry to hear about Val. She was a special girl.
Professor Diggs unscrews the lid of the worm's habitation.
She's been growing exponentially.
The jar trembles. The artifacts around the room shake. Cade and the professor look around as the tremors increase in severity.
Get under the table.
Cade pulls the professor down under the workbench. The professor's hand pops back up, snatches the jar up off the workbench. Cade and the professor wait until the tremors cease and come back up.
They're intensifying.
What about the curse?
Tomorrow's a new moon. Get some rest and figure out in the morning.
I'm locked out of my apartment.
No need to break. You can stay there.
Diggs points to a back room. Exterior 450 Sutter Street, later. Cade sneaks past the narcoleptic guard again. He hitches a ride in the elevator with a few other people. Each one of them stand there displaying the big gleaming teeth with their mouths slacked open. Cade panics. He pushes all the buttons in a state of frenzy. They all turn to him and stare at him menacingly. Cade covers his head.
What do you want?
He sits in a corner of the elevator and covers his head. Peeks out and sees that nobody else is in the elevator with him now.
Get away from me.
The elevator doors open and shut continuously. He's alone. He goes out to the narcoleptic guard and nudges him awake.
I got a job for you.
Judea.
Oh, hello. How much does it pay?
Security issue which falls into your job description.
Ain't fixing to get myself killed.
Cade looks off.
I'm sorry about your friend.
Where did you hear about it?
Everyone knows. It's all over the news.
News, I see.
The guard looks troubled.
Well, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you. There was a white-haired man out here a few hours ago. Said something about a new moon and an earthquake fixing to happen. Something about the end of the world. Well, he knew Val in some way, shape, or form. Mentioned that her death was for nothing because the gods told him that she was no longer a proper virgin. You was the one who did it, huh?
Did what?
You virginized that girl. Now we all gonna die.
You believe this?
I'm just saying that's what they said.
The wheels are turning.
That's all I remember.
Are you sure you don't remember anything else about the earthquake?
Nope, nothing.
Cade sighs and walks away. His phone rings and it's Professor Diggs. I'll be TJ.
Okay. Here what I found, and sound like something outside vision.
I'm listening.
It looks like whatever this high point, but the counter is, I think you're on top of that building. If what you're saying is true, the little carbon battery begins to manifest from a metallic form in some truck. I don't know the timing or ending, but that what Wani is trying to figure out in the Nicaragua. I don't know how to say that.
Oh, I do remember something.
Cade walks back.
Spit it out.
The white-haired man said something about Manatawi.
He's the one that's been doing all the killings.
The white-haired or the Manatawi?
Cade stares at him and cocks his head to the right. Interior police station, evidence room, continuous. The axe in a seal pack evidence bag. A sign with the words evidence room on a door. The copperized Manatawi appears with a spiked club in hand. He swings the club, making contact with the evidence room door. Spikes stick into the door, and he leverages himself on the door frame to pull it out. He makes very human-like sounds of a struggle, and the club detaches from the door. Detective Blink flinches. Several other officers sitting at their desks are distracted by the imposing sound of the axe hitting the door once again.
Can someone go see what in the holy hell is going on back there?
Roger that, sir. Gangsta officer renders a hand salute and goes to investigate. He struts back there like a G. Detective Blank rolls his eyes and goes back to his paperwork. He flicks at his bobblehead and stares at it going back and forth like a pendulum clock. Interior exterior evidence room moments later. Gangsta cop comes upon the door riddled with holes. He touches the holes to see if they're real. That's TJ.
Holy motherfucker, great. The Lord redeemed.
He makes the sign of the cross and opens the door. He proceeds with caution into the room where plastic bins and bags and locker room style locking boxes are. Typical evidence room stuff. He senses movement from off screen. He snaps his head to the side toward the movement.
Wait a minute, hold up.
He makes his way down the hall to Detective Blank's desk. Detective Blank ignores him as he completes paperwork.
There's something in the evidence room.
What do you mean there's something in the evidence room?
I saw something small, elusive.
Well, step on it, son. Get on with the day's work.
Can you come with me? I'm pretty scared, Holmes.
I told you not to call me Holmes, boy. Is you crazy?
Yes, sir. I mean, no, not crazy.
He renders a salute, and the detective rolls his eyes.
For the record, I'm going to assist you in crushing a bug. And this will go on your record. You understand this?
Oh no, we don't afford it. If I want to go out into the field.
If you're scared in here, how will you not be scared out there?
Gangsta cop nods.
You got a point, my man. I can only count on you. Talk sense to me.
He puts his fist out for a fist bump, and the detective obliges him.
That's what I'm talking about. You go on now.
Gangsta cop nods and struts back down the hallway. Exterior 450 Sutter Street, continuous. Cade relaxes with the guard. I'll be Zendaya.
Sorry. Oh God. You probably should leave well enough alone. 3 people have already died.
I'm aware of that, but there's got to be a way to stop this and the supposed earthquake. I guess it has to do with capturing Monatawe.
You're on your own, my friend. I don't be messing with the supernatural.
A limo pulls up, and the white-haired man steps out onto the curb. He smiles, showing his teeth, which shoot out a steady ray of light. Cade sits there looking down, but the guard takes notice and nudges Cade.
What?
That's the guy.
Yeah, I know. I saw him in the conference room the same day the costume shop girl was killed.
Was that the hippo?
Yeah, the hippo.
He'd be coming and going at all hours.
Probably a dentist.
He ain't no dentist, he's one of them.
Cover me.
Cade ducks down and sprints into the lobby. Cade's point of view. The white-haired man goes into the elevator where he stands in between two people staring straight ahead. He looks at them smiling, looking side to side. Cade takes the stairs. Exterior 450 Sutter Street, day. The guard looks around with a face that says vengeance. He puts his hand on top of his pistol. He dials 911. Interior evidence room, day. Gangsta cop stands in the middle of the room, snapping his head around in a fighting stance.
Alright, game over. Come on out and play your vibes.
He shuffles his feet like a pro boxer.
I bet I can knock you out. I will want.
The spiked club travels into his forehead. The spikes penetrate. He's left stunned but doesn't fall. He appears to still be speaking, but no sound escapes from his mouth. He stays up for far too long, then falls backward and hits the floor with the club still engaged with his forehead. The copper creature stands there with the little axe that once was evidence in the bag. He swings it charmingly over his little copper shoulder and leaves the room, taking the hallway to exterior Union Square, day. The copper creature runs across a heavily polluted Union Square. People, various ages, gasp and are startled at its appearance. Interior 450 Sutter Street lobby, moments later. The copper guy runs past the narcoleptic guard who nods off.
Hey!
He runs weakly toward the creature. You can tell he has no interest in confronting it, but at least he knows he should at least fake trying. Interior stairwell, day. And as Techie takes the stairs, skipping over entire stairwells. He's like flashes of light going from here to there. Interior roof continuous. The white-haired man and the copper monster chillax on the helipad. The little Aztec performs an electronic dance to delight the gray-haired man. Cade throws open the door to the roof. The gray-haired man and the little Aztec stare at Cade. Super, 10 years later. Interior auditorium, day. Cade delivers a lecture to about 100 students. He wears a brown suit and a red tie and appears and speaks like an academic. He shuffles through a series of images of Aztec life and culture projected on a screen.
The Aztec culture is alive and well today in spirit, and for some, even in practice.
He shuts down the PowerPoint.
Does anyone have any questions?
Dozens of hands go up.
You.
He points to a student.
Is it true your girlfriend was sacrificed?
Sort of.
And that you became the most famous ghost tour guide who ever lived?
I saw the article online. That part is true.
That's so sad about your girlfriend.
I heard you stopped the earthquake with an ancient formula.
That part is true. Also,
Are they really sacrificing people today?
I'm saying it's as strong a possibility as anything else. It's up to us to stay open-minded. You know, and as researchers in the vast world of possibility, in doing so, you could be saving lives.
How can we tell when we can't see spirits? I mean, how can we be sure what you're saying is true?
And did we really be sure of anything?
The student debates inaudibly, his voice fading out as we zoom in on Cade, who turns to look at us. He grins and we see that he now has the big teeth which emit the gleam through to us, blinding us into a white space, and we go to black, and smash cut to frenzied jungle music in the dark while the credits roll. Alright. Excellent job for reading, everyone. Thank you for your acting skills. Thank you, Aliska, for sharing. We'll start with feedback now. I will read out again. We're just looking for general feedback this time. So anything you got? Let's see. Should I start with the top or bottom of the list this time? Did you want us to come back to you, Dan, or do you want to start us off?
Sure, and I guess we should start at where I'm most recent, because that ending feels like it's a real. It feels like you ripped out a potential. You were at the big final climactic moment of the story, and it stopped right there before we had this big ultimate showdown between protagonist and evil bronze man, and then it's just, well, skip the time. He lived the encounter. I want to see what he did. I want to see what happened. That's the one point in time that was the one thing that's no, that was like we wanted that ending. That just hurts. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I was like, all right, we're at the end of the world. It's all right. We're here at the time of a potential Armageddon. The Earth is about to split open. A Richter scale of 13, which I actually hear is a fatal number, is like an earth-shattering number, quite literally, or something like that. And all in all, it just ends, and he's a professor. What's the lesson our protagonist learned? How did he grow? How did skipping 10 years ahead end his arc? A lot of people have touched on some other issues too, mind you. Issues like, say, how I think a lot more than just the hippo lady needing a name. She also needs a reason to join this weird, lazy, this weird slacker boy on this ghost hunt. Well, he doesn't know it's a ghost chase at the time, but it feels like, why is this random mermaid shop mask costume sales lady, Party City type girl, why is she just going to help this guy? I feel like there's got to be some more between the two of them, more than just a name. He should know the name of a person that he enlists to help him out if it's just some random costume shopper. I mean, okay, there's the idea that she's going because her uncle works there, but that doesn't seem like enough. It seems like she needs more personal reasons to do it. I don't know, maybe she likes Cade. If so, it's not really expressed very well. So it feels like we need another party member. Can you join me for a little bit so we can have an extra character in the scene? Sure. That's how it reads out to me. It felt like inorganic that this random costume shopper would just join this guy who's talking a little bit crazy. And all of a sudden, she's just going to be like, oh, okay. Other things? Well, there's more, I'm sure, and I'll come back to it. It was also, I felt like a lot of the lines, especially at the start, were a little like long, little telling, little talk to the audience-y, so to speak. Like, you've got this situation where this girl is going to be sacrificed. It seems like it's a very tense, dramatic moment. Like, you see these kinds of moments all the time where Bond is on the table or Indiana Jones is about to get sacrificed. And this girl is like, I have something to say first. She would probably try and word herself a lot more quickly. And the executioner, too, is probably not going to be patient enough to have a lot of words to say. I also feel like there's a lot of characters who are supposed to have arcs that just don't. Like Valerie's parents. They kind of come in at the start and you think the father has this sneaking suspicion. Maybe he will join in on the hunt of these villains. But then he disappears until she's dead. They don't even get names either. So their value as characters kind of feel unnecessary. And there are a lot of moments that have a lot of tonal whiplash too. Like, there's the part where the guard says something and Cade gives him a look. Then I was about to say, is there supposed to be want music at this point? This is a point where a guard and these two people are talking about the end of the world and people are dead. There's no time for one of those really moments. Those kinds of silly pause moments. that there are times for it, even in horror, sure, but that felt like a really poor time for it. Anyway, there's 17 other people here, and I'm sure all of them want to get some feedback in. So,
Okay, thank you.
I'll take a break.
Thanks, Dan. And yeah, you did have to like read pretty consistently through the entire thing, so thanks for going first. Evil Michael, did you have any feedback?
I do. I do have a question for Aliska. Is this supposed to be a farce or comedy of the absurd?
Horror comedy, which somebody else got right earlier. I figured.
Yeah. Is it supposed to be absurd? A total farce?
I don't even like horror comedies. I just wanted to see if I could challenge myself to finish something in that genre.
Right, but in terms of comedic style, is it a complete farce where nothing is serious? Like what's that zombie movie in Australia or whatever, where it just, I mean, you know what I mean by farcical, a farce, a comedy of the absurd?
I don't have a lot of experience with watching stuff like that.
So, as we're reading this, I'm trying to, see what, what the genre is, what you're going for. So, having said that, okay, comedy is tough. Drama tends to be easier because anger is an easier emotion to reach. Comedy is all about timing. Timing is everything in comedy. And to pull that off in a script is a real challenge. In this script, I'm trying to say, I think I see what you're going for. Everything is just so totally absurd that we're not even looking for anything to make sense. Because throughout the script, person's here and now they're there. Now this thing is happening, and there was no called continuity. There was no flow from this event led to this event. It's just it happened. This event happened. There was some funny moments, and I forgot my mic was open. Okay, Dad jumping out of the car and getting hit by another car. I did not see that coming. That was freaking funny. Okay, that one had me going, and I didn't know my mic was open, and I just started laughing out loud. That was funny. When my character got the spike through the head, that was funny. I like physical comedy works for me when you don't see it coming. The Coen brothers are masters at so the spike club through the head. The whole concept of I'm the last version, so help me. I'm always thinking of other films, but Andy Warhol's Dracula had that kind of thing going where Dracula had to have the blood of a virgin. Well, there are no virgins around where we live, so we're going to have to travel to another country to find a virgin. And so that I got that joke. Also, again, I'm looking for still one event to lead to another, or are the characters just walking around oblivious to everything around them? And that is a style of comedy. That is a style of comedy, and to put it on paper, real challenge to get the reader to visualize, because this kind of comedy is very, very physical. It relies on a lot of physicality and a lot of visuals. So I think I see what you're doing here. The whole thing about I'm the last virgin around. There are no more virgins around, so why don't you take care of this? Okay, which is what happens in Andy Warhol Dracula. But I think I see what you're doing. I think what I would need is still there needs to be some continuity from one event to another. So if this is happening and then there's going to be another scene, unless it's another plot line, it just kind of just happened abruptly. But there were some funny parts in there, and I see where horror comedy goes south real easy. But then again, comedy, me, is the hardest to write, is the most challenging to execute. Keep working at it. For this reader, give me some continuity so that the scenes make sense. Okay?
Okay,
Right.
thank you.
Thanks, Eva Michael. And I'll go ahead and just give my feedback now, since reading out loud really tires me out a lot. So I feel like if I wait much longer, I'll just be completely empty-headed. But I do agree that I was seriously lost tonally in the different beats of the feature script so far. I don't know why I said so far. We've read the entire thing. Uh, I didn't really get attached to anyone, and again, I'm not sure if I was supposed to get attached to anyone or if I was supposed to enjoy seeing them get smote by a little copper man or a car. Uh, some people, yeah, Evil Michael, and I think Taste of Sorrow found the dad getting killed. That scene pretty humorous. I was wondering with the antagonists, or these cultists wanting to make Val into a virgin sacrifice to stop an earthquake. Are they evil by merit of their ancestors? No. I'll think of a better way to phrase it, but I guess with Val, I wanted her to have something else happening in her life outside of having Latina curves and keeping ancient weapons in her couch and having the stuff on the wall. I don't think it was a tapestry. I think it was some sort of engraving about the Aztec images or what have you. Yeah, she did not do much except be sexy and die. So maybe that's what you wanted, I'm not sure, but I feel like there could have been more to her depending on what you wanted to happen, but my attempt to say wait, no. I'll move on to some other stuff. Lori. Yeah, before I command F'd the script to look for the name Lori to see how many times it appeared because it was the name of the character called Mermaid Clerk. And I believe Lori shows up exactly once in the script to say that the contents of the file soak in Lori's blood. I would definitely go back and change Mermaid Clerk's name to that instead of Hippo or Mermaid Clerk. I think it exchanged a couple times. And generally just work out some of the AKAs. I wasn't sure why we ever had to refer to Val's mom as the fancy lady or to Dr. Spade Point, I think it was, as Rodney. We talked about spelling Gangsta Cop wrong. It was alternatively Gansta and other times Gangsta. So that would be good to, work out some of that confusion. Spade Tip. His name was Dr. Spade Tip. Yeah. Well, I said I would try to address things before my brain turned to mush, but I guess I'm too late. But yeah, sorry. I'll type out what I can cobble together in my head. But yeah.
You tried, Ryan.
God bless me, I
Thank you.
tried. Edith, did you have any feedback?
Oh, yeah, give me 1 second. I took some notes. Yeah, I guess you could have had a better meet cute between Valve and Cade. I felt that just happened. I do think you do build up the big teeth. I did like that about the teeth, but it just doesn't. I feel in the opening scene you could have had that, where the people who are sacrificing the virgin have big teeth, and then you could like that religion or that sacrifice ritual is still going to this day. I thought the Antonio, she's like getting picked up by her brother or something, and she leaves Cade and Antonio never shows back up. So I felt that was kind of clumsy. The dialogue is sometimes too on the nose. Something that I do like though is this story had some big conspiracy feels. It has some big vibes of conspiracy, like, oh, something is happening here, and he's trying to uncover it, right? But I also like the idea towards the end that it never gets uncovered and he kind of falls into it, or maybe he just doesn't. Like people were saying, the ending does come a bit too abrupt, and it's just a bit cheesy and shoehorned to just be like, and now he's in the cult, like he's part of this now. When the little Azteci, which I thought was funny, little Azteci, which sounds like a rapper name, but he when he speaks, I think he could actually put that in the dialogue just to show it a bit. It could just be scary, right? It doesn't have to be exactly Spanish, but it could be more like a dialect. A lot of the kills happen off screen almost. A lot of this story is that things happen and we as the audience never see it, right? Like how people were saying towards the climax. And that can be cool, but it just doesn't work here. I feel there's a lot of loose ends. Playing the officer, right? Officer Blank. The officers don't have a moment of that goes somewhere and then it doesn't land. So I thought the officers were part of the plan. If anything, I feel you should show the officers with big teeth. And they're in on this conspiracy. People were saying the difference between, is this a comedy horror comedy? This felt almost at moments almost like Pineapple Express because of Cade. Where it does feel silly at times, right? We do have a mermaid girl in a hippo suit, and it gets very silly between them. But there's also the drama, but it doesn't gel well, and it seems a bit jarring between it. So I feel like you got to go I feel like you go loop base on both of them, on comedy and horror, where you can go full speed on either one, in tone. But what I do like about this script is again that conspiracy. Just I think something's gonna get uncovered. Nicaragua, my heritage is from there, so big ups. I like the representation. Maybe add a bit more Spanish in there. But other than that, that's all I got. But yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, Edith. Joe, do you have any feedback?
I noticed a lot of small technical issues, which I'm sure, as we did table read, you noticed as well. Stuff like the constant changing of names. As Gray said, shovel tip or spade tip. Those different names that you had for different characters. That just made it confusing. there were also a couple, I assume, like the software that you used didn't export correctly. I think one of Dan's lines didn't get, like, didn't have a character name, and typos. But other than that, it was enjoyable. I did struggle to work out your tone and just figure out what kind of comedy it was. I think that from what you said earlier, you were struggling to work that out yourself, and it's not your main genre. And I think this was more of an experiment for you. But yeah, I don't think it worked. It's not your best work, but it was entertaining in some ways. But yeah, thanks for sharing it. It was good to read.
Thanks,
Thank
Joe.
you.
Today, do you have any thoughts?
Nothing people haven't already said. So, no.
All right, Morgana, do you have any thoughts on the script?
Um,
Love your performance of not Lori.
yes.
It was excellent.
Yeah, Lori for one line. But I thought I like the idea and concept because I think I don't know, cults are kind of cool for an idea, not in reality, but the movies are pretty cool, and so that's an interesting concept. I think it even has like not that I'm comparing, but in terms of the concept, Ghostbusters vibes, and, like with weird buildings and yeah, we should make a cult. As long as I'm leader. The inciting incident I thought was kind of random, like where suddenly there's blood, and I don't know. I just thought it came out of nowhere, and it's similar to the ending where it ends kind of randomly, and the 10-year thing is kind of like, eh. I'm not personally. I'm not a fan of those. Like at the end of Harry Potter, I'm like, this why? But that's subjective, of course. But yeah, overall, I think you have. It's difficult to write a screenplay, a feature, and finish it. So already you're ahead of a lot of people. And I like a lot of the concepts of the cults, but it definitely needs some. And you've admitted it. It needs some work. And yeah.
Thank you, Morgana.
Thank you.
Nacho, did you have any feedback?
Yeah, I'll share my feedback later, maybe. I don't know if you want to come back to me at the end.
Oh, okay. Non-Birdman. Benny, yes. Did you have any feedback? Let's see. Pollock, do you want to use your mic or did you want to type any feedback you have? I'll read that when you're done making it. Samara Khalifa, were you here for the read? Do you have any feedback? Taste sweet. Are you there?
Actually, I arrived lately and I didn't hear the topic.
You didn't hear the what?
I didn't listen to the story. I came lately.
Oh, that's okay. Taste of Sorrow, did you have any feedback?
This is kind of baseline and not necessarily targeting the story itself. But I just thought that some of the formatting was a bit off. Like it really stuck out to me. The beginning lines, especially, like just looking at it, it's like it like there's dashes of just ellipses, and then it cuts to a line, which is fine, right? But then the line doesn't end with a period, and I thought that was very weird because it didn't have any punctuation around it, and it didn't seem like it was necessarily a stylistic thing, which off-put me, and then that made me hesitant. So I'm like, I would say revisit the formatting. A lot of it is kind of odd. There's a lot of awkward word choice, even though that isn't coming to me now because we read 92 pages. So, but yeah, I think the main thing that got me were word choice and formatting, and they really off-put me. And that's all I really have to say on that front. I thought that the tone was a little all over the place. If that, if his dad getting run over was meant to be serious, then I don't think that was portrayed well because I died laughing. I thought that was hilarious. And if it's not meant to be hilarious, if that's meant to be a genuine moment, I don't think that the tone works. I don't think the way that it's written works. I don't think how abruptly it happens works. I don't think the build up to it works. I think that scene, if that was not the intention to be humorous, needs to be revised. You can have a story that's humorous and still have emotional moments. Sean, they posted it here, but Shaun of the Dead is a great example. And I don't see employee to read that script because it's honestly a very amazing script. It's one of the scripts that like, inspired me to start writing in the first place. That's a really good script. But I think there needs to be revisements and not only just the word choice, you know, again, just those baseline action lines, how you go about conveying things. It felt a little wordy and some of the word choice was not optimal. And then the tone was muddled because of very odd scenes that didn't like kind of came out of nowhere and a lot of exposition that did not need to be there. And that was really what stuck out to me. So that's about it, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Taste of Sorrow. Terry, did you have any feedback? Pollock says, I was wondering about the true god angle in the beginning seemed random, since the idea of a true god never appears in the script. TJ, did you have any feedback?
I do. I think with what that character, the costume quirk, I feel like he could have done some more thing with it, some more with it. Honestly, like they did call Hippo, but like maybe cause like the max. I don't know. Maybe you could have done like something fun. The reason why like that she called Hippo, like maybe her weight, maybe she had connection to the max. Also, I agree with the ending. The ending needs to be more constructed. I would love to see, like, maybe the third act should have been the earthquake. Like, what happened? Like, we could saw so many people being killed. And, like, there's a show that I mentioned on my introduction called Search Party. If you haven't seen it, it's on HBO Max. But at the end of the show, like, it basically, like, does, like, a time cut and like so like the impact of that. It's spoilers, but it's a pocket at the end. But like we see like some impact of the apocalypse, and like I would love to see like the impact of like the earthquake, like showing like some stuff related to the earthquake, and how like maybe the earthquake, maybe we see real like damage to it. And like they are trying to recover from it. And honestly, I don't know what else. I think my favorite character was honestly the costume quirk. I don't know why, but I actually did get attached for her for a little bit until she dies. I think I kind of like the idea. Like they said, like you could like kill Zachary. Maybe show that first killing Oscar, but then the second one, the other person, I don't remember her name, but the Kate best friend, like girlfriend, whatever. But show her, maybe you can show her that. Also, I feel like they need to be more deaths. It's a horror movie, for Christ's sake.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, TJ. Yeah, if anyone has any more feedback to give, just let me know. Nacho, we were gonna come back to you. You have everything ready?
Yeah, I'll share my feedback afterwards for Carmen. I just want to say, like, I just wrote a couple of those like horror comedies, and it's really hard to get the tone, like, and it's, you know, maybe like I wouldn't worry about getting the tone perfect yet. Just like main thing is just kind of like the structure and like, you know, the scenes, and then you can go back and kind of polish, you know, figure out the tone. Maybe think also one general suggestion is like think about a couple of movies or scripts that have a tone that you want to sort of emulate. Like you could take this in like an airplane or Naked Gun kind of tone, like just a real broad kind of slapstick kind of tone. And it could totally go in that direction. Just maybe like Scary Movie. Just check out some of those scripts and try to see like how do they kind of achieve that tone. Or maybe you want to go more in a little bit different tone, you know, just it can help to like find a model, like, okay, this is kind of like the tone that I want to go for. And then you can look and see how that's pulled together. But it's really, really hard, especially with horror comedies. It's not easy.
Yeah, I've never tried my hand at a horror comedy, but I can only imagine how difficult it is. Even watching horror comedy films, it's even hard for an audience member because you're thinking like, is some character is dying a horrible bloody death on screen, like, I think this is funny, but if it's not funny, I'm going to look like a monster for laughing out loud. It's just so it must be exponentially harder to actually write whatever provokes that emotion in us. So it cannot be easy. But thank you so much for sharing this with us. So I hope some of the feedback helps. And
thanks.
Yeah, that was our only script for tonight. It turns out we got finished much early, so we can throw out the CRTV and watch a nature documentary and hang out. But thank you all so much for reading through this. Our readers, your perseverance and your acting has served us well once again. I am going to hand out script coins after the event. I do thank all of you who, I think it was Pollock, Michael. Hang on. Oh yeah, someone else who is not here who will read their script next week. Thank you for your patience. And we're actually in a state of overflow right now. Isn't that nice? We usually have to go get something off the blacklist to read, but now we have scripts to the extent that we can't read them all at once. And I encourage you to keep sending your scripts to us because they're always a treat to read, especially a bunch of different types of them. It's good to expose yourself to bunches of different writing styles and genres. So there's the submission forms. Other events that happen on here: fantasy group starting in half an hour. Fantasy workshop, yep, that one's a lot of fun. Be sure to attend if you're into fantasy. Animation writers group tomorrow. Script swap and a horror workshop Tuesday. Sci-fi group Fridays. Disability and screenwriting Saturday, April 8th. Romance Writers Club Saturday. There are so many things happening. Try to go to at least one of them. But yeah, but thank you all so much for coming to the event. I hope you guys have as much fun as I do at these. And yeah, you guys.
Thanks, Gray.
I will see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Everyone.
Great reading, guys.
Take care.